All
Yeah.
right. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Puck, and I do the marketing for Mariano's. And I'm here with Sarah Lutz Oliveric. And we're happy to have all of you here, but especially Chrishon Lampley from Love Corkscrew, who is a friend, a dear friend of ours in the brand. And we love working with her. We love doing things with her. And we're kicking off March 1st. I'm calling it Chrishon Day, 3-1. But we're celebrating Women's History Month with amazing female entrepreneurs and women we really admire. So, Chrishon, we're so happy to have you.
Oh, I'm beyond excited to be here. I'm always happy to work with Mariana's. You guys have been huge fans of Love Corkscrew from day one. So I could not be anywhere else but here. So thank you.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know we are going to have a really great discussion about you and your brands, but we always like to start our wine events with a toast. So I think you and I are going to start with the Pinot Grigio, right? We
Yes,
already have some
please.
going. I'm a little behind,
Yes,
so let me.
yes. Catch up, Amanda. Catch up.
I know, right? Oh my gosh. But Chrishon, cheers to you for being a great female leader in our community. Cheers.
Chin chin. Cheers. Thanks for having me again. To
Cheers
life,
to
love, and
everyone. Hopefully you
happiness.
have a glass of
Yes.
something if you're gonna drink. All right,
Mm,
Christian's drinking. I love it.
yes.
Oh my God,
I
so good.
love it. I love
I love
it.
happy hour on Monday. There was no better thing.
Man.
So Chrishon, we've talked a lot and we've spent a lot of time with you, but your brand has grown so much in the time that we've known you. Tell us how you came up with the idea for Love Corkscrew.
Oh gosh. So the short of it is Love Corkscrew was created out of losing everything. And when I say everything, I was a matter of days from getting kicked out of my home. I lost everything because the business that I own, that some of you Chicagoans may know of, was an art gallery off of 16th in Michigan. And we closed. We were open for 3 years. We were very successful, great art gallery, had a full bar. And I wrote the wine list for the bar. And we won Chicago's Best actually in 2009 as the best wine list. And we closed due to an awful flood. And the flood was caused by baby wipes, if you can imagine that. So the condo owners above us flushed non-biodegradable baby wipes down the toilet, and it flushed into of course, into our storefront. And our dram shop insurance didn't cover baby wipes. We had over $2 million worth of insurance that didn't cover baby wipes. So we shut down. I went into a very dark place. And in that dark space, I realized that people still kept coming to me for whatever that was. I grew up in Downers Grove. So to be here in Chicago and develop so many people that followed me and really fell in love with me at the bar, everybody kept calling me, texting me, Chrishon, you always know the wine picks. You always know what parties to go to. You always know what restaurants to go to. Chrishon. I'm like, oh, I'm in this dark space. I just lost everything. Leave me alone, right? I said, okay, no, actually, that's not who I am. Who I am is I love people. So my heart was still beating, so I knew I had a purpose. And I started writing a blog. The blog was called Love Corkscrew. That led to a radio show, kind of got this radio voice here. And then next thing you know, I said, you know what? I want to do something that everyone tells me I can't. People said, oh, you don't own a vineyard. How are you going to do that? Oh, you're not going to get a liquor license. How are you going to do that? Well, 500,000 bottles sold later, federally licensed, importer, exporter around the entire world. And I'm here. And Mariana's was the first store to take me. And I'm now in about 600 locations around the country.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's amazing growth, and it really shows your drive and really your entrepreneurial spirit. But I do think, we don't have to talk too much about this because we want to talk about, the happy place that you're in right now. But, it is very, it's scary for women to be in that situation, to have, or anyone to have had a business, to lose the business, but it really makes you stronger and gives you a lot more purpose, I think, to start, to start this great company that you've grown into such a brand.
Resiliency. And I grew up that way. I had hardworking parents. Father grew up on the south side of Chicago. Mother grew up in Wheaton, and they were both much older parents than most. And they taught me a lot, and resilience was definitely number one. And second, again, my whole motto is I'm going to break every glass ceiling till there's no more to be broken. So my purpose found me. And that's the short of it. That's the short of it. But I'm here.
So you must have really loved wine. I mean, you were, writing the wine list at your restaurant. So tell us about your love for wine, because people say you should do what you love to do.
Yes, or what loves you follows you. It's a funny thing, right? So I've always been in sales and marketing, went to school for that. I always had the love for people, but the one thing that sticks out for me is my childhood of truly always wanting to attempt and try something different. We all can say we're foodies, right? Just because we love food. So that word is used a lot. But no, for real, as a kid, I enjoyed sushi. When I was a little older and 21, of course, and while everybody was drinking the Cosmos and the apple martinis, I was enjoying wine flights at Ben 36. So I always kind of had a knack for it. And it was the mixture of that. So when I wrote the wine list, I was thinking of everyone else, just not my palate. My thought process was what makes sense and what's different and what's small batch, what's boutique wines and such. And I took also the sales distribution side because I worked for a distributor in the wine industry and I had one of the largest territories in the state. And everyone would tell me the same thing. They want to support local, small batch. They're sick of buying all the same wines that are found everywhere. And I just took that knack. Of course, I did a lot of training. I learned a lot. And I just put it all together and did something that everyone told me I couldn't do.
So tell us, because your wines are very special and unique, not only, I know we talk about the actual branding, which is so awesome, but also, the varietals and the wines that you select to go inside.
Yeah, those very important. I wanted to remain classic, old school, if you will. And a lot of people will say, well, why didn't you do this one or that one? Why didn't you do a Chard? Why didn't you do Merlot? I got 7 now, y'all. I mean, come on. Out of a private label, most private labels have like 2. So give me a break here. But I did want to make sure that I appealed to as many palates as possible. So if you like this certain varietal, you're more than likely like this particular bottle of Love Corkscrew. A lot of people love them all. My good friend of mine calls me the Snapple of wine. So I wanted to stay true to certain varietals that I knew were the top varietals, especially a Pinot and a Riesling. That to me was just a no-brainer. My love for Cabernet Sauvignon is why I did that, but also they're sweet lovers. We're in the Midwest, so I wanted to appeal to them. So I wanted to have definitely a plethora of different ones, but at the same time staying true to myself, what I enjoy and what I think people would enjoy. And I think I did that with Love Corkscrew.
I think you did too. And I know we have lots of questions, and everyone who's on, please feel free to go into the chat if you have any questions for Chrishon. But Chrishon, I think, we are going to taste through some of the wine. So why don't we, do you want to start with Good Times, Good Friends?
Yes, Good Times, Good Friends. So that is an amazing, amazing seller, definitely at Mariano's and other locations, but Good Times, Good Friends is my baby. That one I sourced from Michigan, and there is a reason why I sourced that one from Michigan. There's this beautiful piece of land that we always forget about because we always think California for wine or out of the country, but Michigan has some really great vineyards, right? And there's this awesome piece of land that grows right between the Kalamazoo and Lake Michigan that just doesn't get too hot, it doesn't get too cold, and it's a great piece of land. And also, we have to get our minds sometimes out of Chicago. This is really Illinois, right? So when you start driving outside, there's a lot of beautiful farmland, right? We get so stuck in this city that we don't know. So when I created the Pinot Grigio, I wanted to be crisp, light, not overly acidic. Pinot Grigio has a funny rap, right? Either people love it or hate it. And I wanted to make sure it sat at a palate that was easy. For me, the aromas of, I would say, pear, apple stick out a lot within the Pinot Grigio. And it's really crisp. And again, from Michigan, I wanted to support local vineyards. And the Pinot is great by itself. Don't always think you have to pair wine. There's some wines that are just great on its own. But if you're going to pair the Pinot, I'm definitely for vegetarians out there. If you like certain vegan dishes, I think it's absolutely amazing. Fish, Dover sole, absolutely amazing. Your white fishes. And it just has the most perfect crispness to it, I think. It's so crisp and delicious.
I will agree with you because I hope other people are drinking along, but I'm tasting it along. And I think, I've tried all your wines, lucky for me, but I think I do like this the best because I do like Pinot Grigios in general, but I like that, it's a little bit crisper, it has a little bit of tartness to it.
Correct.
What I really like so much about your marketing, because I really think besides just being a great product, I mean, you're like a marketing genius with the name, with all the branding, the names of the wines. But I have to say, as someone who drinks a lot of wine, what I really like is, you really kind of describe the wines on the bottle. So it doesn't really leave a lot of guesswork. Sometimes.
At all. Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, and that's exactly.
what is on the bottle.
It's right there, right? So my whole concept on that marketing side was I did not only want to appeal to wine enthusiasts, but I wanted to appeal to wine novice as well. Thus the labels, right? Double entendres, you can totally make it what you want, but this is a $130 billion industry. And there's plenty of people who cannot pronounce Bordeaux and Chianti and Chenin Blanc and don't care to, but love wine. And I said, you know what? Number one reason why people buy wine is the label. I know this from being in this industry 25 years. Number one is the label. Number two is the price. Number three is the taste. People go back for one and two, not really like how it tastes, but because it's something they know and they manage their expectations, they'll buy it anyway because it's too many choices of wine. So I said, I got you. You may not remember it's Pinot Grigio, but you're going to remember it's called Good Times, Good Friends.
Right.
You may not remember it's a Riesling. You're going to remember Head Over Heels. So that was my thought process. And that just took off. And I want to appeal to everyone. I'm not, this is not meant to be so hard and difficult and give you a headache and feel like I don't want, wine is fun. Drink it, don't overthink it. Like I just want it to be fun. And I think I appealed to that market 500,000 bottles later.
No, I agree. And I think, say hypothetically, which has happened, I'll bring this wine to someone's house for like back in the day when we could actually socialize. So don't judge me for saying that, but I would bring this to a friend's house and we would spend a good like 10 or 15 minutes just talking about the name, besides what it tasted like. But I think, we all loved it, obviously, but we all really loved the marketing. And I think that's where you really, are a genius because it really stands out. Even when I'm, in other retailers or in our store, like always just pops out at me. Like I see it right away. And I think, that's something that a lot of other winemakers, a lot of other, just in general, like people who, whether it's a cereal brand or any kind of brand, what you've really done is exceptional with the marketing piece. So.
And that's the part I wanted to stick out, right? I wanted to stick out on the shelf, especially being a small boutique brand. And what always gives me the biggest compliment is when somebody will say who I, just meet and I'll tell them, we're talking and I talk about Love Corkscrew and I show them a picture. They're like, oh my God, I saw that on the shelf. That's so hot to me. That's a turn on. The fact that you see my labels, it feels so good. It feels so good.
So the grapes for Good Times, Good Friends are from Michigan. So where else do you pull grapes from for your wines?
Actually, predominantly Michigan. I think somebody on the chat mentioned sweet wines. Oh, I got you. I got some sweet wines for you. Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about that. But I actually sourced from Illinois for a little bit. And the only reason why I'm going to switch over to Michigan for that is because the brand has grown so large that I need to produce in a larger vineyard. So I have produced in Illinois for the sweet wines, my Concord and Niagara, but I got to switch over to Michigan now. So I just finished, we just went through harvest not too long ago, and we're now producing the tanks, and we're about to be ready in about 2 weeks. But I have my new Niagara and Concord for you sweet lovers. That's going to be in Michigan. So predominantly everything's in Michigan, except my Cabernet Sauvignon. So my Cabernet Sauvignon, I did do that out of California, and it's from all parts of California. So I sourced the grapes a little bit from everywhere, but predominantly northern.
And then, so do you have someone, let's like talk about the winemaking process, because a lot of us might not know. And I just want to make sure I have it. So you buy the grapes and then you have someone make your wine according to your specification. And then they do it from the start to the finish.
And I do a lot of traveling.
Right,
so not so in the industry, it's classified as a negociant. That's what I am, a negociant. So what does that mean? That means no, I'm not crushing them in my bathtub. I'm actually going to the vineyard. So from the time the grapes are picked, Chrishon is involved in the entire process. No, I'm not the one crushing it with my feet. I hire people to do all that, right? But yes, from the time the grapes are picked to the time we bottle, it is all Love Corkscrew. So I'm picking everything, right? From the RS, the residual sugar content, to how long we're going to ferment the certain grapes, from the rosé to we did 12 months in the Cabernet Sauvignon for soaking in oak chips. So every bit of the process I'm involved in. And a lot of them I did 10 years ago. So it's not much that I have to do as far as creating the formulas, if you will. I created them long time ago. So as things change, as seasons change, of course, flavor profile changes from year to year. So where I come to play is definitely saying, hey, it's a little bitter this time, so we're going to add a little more sugar this time, or we're going to make it a little more balanced, or we're going to tweak it a little differently. So it's a lot of traveling, a lot of driving to Michigan. But yes, I'm part of the entire process in producing each varietal, and it's a lot of work. It's not sexy. It's not sexy.
Well, you make it look that way. So
Well, thanks.
put it that way. Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun.
Before we get on to the other wines, I want to ask you like kind of like a basic question, but what was like the most challenging thing for you, like when you started your company?
Being taken seriously. And this is a great month to discuss that. As far as being a woman, not just a woman, but an African-American woman. Literally, I equate for less than 1%. And my publicist gets mad when I say this because she wants me to really break it down. It's like 0.00009% that are African-American women in this business, whether they're negociants, vineyard owners, and winery owners. There's literally 60 of us out of 111,000 in the world. So definitely a unicorn in this industry. And the hardest part is people always assume I must just be the face of the brand, or I'm just a salesperson, or I'm just repping the brand. Nah, it's my LLC. I own it. This is my baby. And a lot of people can't grasp that. And she's from Chicago? Huh? So it's being taken seriously, but through the years though, again, that goes part of my makeup and growing up, that doesn't bug me anymore. When people challenge me, I'm used to it. I'm used to nonstop being asked questions that my counterparts aren't asked that don't look like me.
Right.
So I'm used to it, to be honest. And that's the challenge I accept. And come on with it. Challenge me.
So what advice would you give? I mean, you're right. You are a unicorn. I mean, there are not many Black women in wine that have, the leadership or have excelled like you have. There aren't many women in wine who have done that. I mean, I think, we really built this Women in Wine series to bring women in this category forward because it is, entrepreneurial. I mean, what you've done with this, we have the team behind Luna Bay Booch, which is a hard kombucha. That's like a totally new product. So, I mean, what advice would you give like women in general, especially young Black women who are interested? What advice would you give them to come out and start their own brand or become a leader in this industry?
Definitely take advantage of your opportunities right now. When I came up in it, it was very grassroots. I definitely did the distribution side, owned the four walls, and lost a lot. There was a lot of opportunities I did not have. What is given now are tons of opportunities from the WSET classes, so WSET courses. You can get grants to take those classes now online. Before you had to go to a class or fly to NAPA Academy. There's so many opportunities in grants, in growth, in teaching that you can do from your own computer. Please, when people ask me for advice on it, I'm like, hey, don't do what I did. I lost everything. Don't do what I did. Take the opportunities that you have that I did not. So I definitely emphasize education, and I emphasize interning, whether it be internships, whether it be just when the world opens up, going into a wine shop and saying, I'll work a couple hours for free. Because I want people to see the not sexy side. Don't make an assumption I just sit and drink wine all day. I'm literally on the phone, on Zooms. If I wasn't on Zooms and this world wasn't the way it is, I was driving nonstop to meetings, whether it be distributor and sales calls, and something happened that Chrishon only can fix. It's not sexy. There's some great payoffs at the end of the year because you got the galas and things like that that Love Corkscrew sponsors. But other than that, it's a lot of work. So do your research, Google, get these grants. There's plenty of money out there.
You do a lot of work. So, I mean, I've known you since 2016, and I mean, you're a hard worker. I love working with you because I love your energy and your focus and your drive. And I know you know that because we work together a lot on stuff. But okay, so we talked about the most challenging thing, which is very important. But tell us the most like rewarding thing. Like what was one of the best things that happened to you?
Oh my God. So when you guys talk about bucket lists, and we all talk about bucket lists, it's one of those things where they're like, you're going to put like the top things that maybe you won't see for like 5-10 years, but I'm going to aim for that. Man, when I got Times Square, when I was on 2 billboards in Times Square, I'm like, Mama, I made it. Like, it was the best feeling I've ever had in my life. And that was number 3 on my bucket list. Number 2 was a TED Talk, and I did it. And that was
I want to actually still have to
unbelievable.
watch that. I know I was sent information on that, not from you to support it. And I never got, I mean, that's an exciting thing. Like that
Wow.
was, everyone involved in that, especially you, were like amazing. We have to post the link. We have to find it. Sarah,
Thank you. Please, please. And I hope to inspire. It's 8 minutes. A lot of people say they end up crying afterwards, but it's definitely inspirational. And it's called How Success Screwed Me. Get it? Get it? Get it? How Success Screwed Me. Love Corkscrew. Okay. So it was great. And to be chosen to do a TEDx, to be asked to do a TED Talk was unbelievable. And kid you not, to be super transparent, when I hit the stage, before I was nervous, shaking. My makeup artist, she was like giving me massage and all this. And when I got on stage, I felt at home. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be. I can talk in front of 1,000 people with no problem, with no script. But put me in front of one person, I'm like scared, right? I'm one of those. But when I got home, I like threw up and passed out. Like, it was because it was such this unbelievable experience. So I would say the most rewarding. And actually, I'll be honest, being in Forbes, I was voted in Forbes as number 2 out of African American women owned wine and spirits. Number 2 with my sweet wine. Again, I think somebody talked about sweet. Touch the Sky. My sweet Niagara won number 2 in Forbes magazine. So that's just a few, but those 3 were like, wow. I think you get so busy and you get so caught up in your everyday, and there's so much to do and there's so much struggle that sometimes you have to sit back and say, whoa, you know what? I did that. I did that. And then you go back into it, and then you get the no's, and then I cry, and then I get another no. But then after, I'm like, what? But girl, you were in Forbes. Shut up.
now you need to come up with new items for your list so that they come true. I do feel that way. I feel like if you imagine something, like you imagine all of those things to happen to you, like they'll happen to you because you're going to like really work so hard to accomplish those things.
And I'm hitting number 1. I'll be hitting number 1 in 60 days. So you're absolutely right. My number 1 was for me to go national, and it's finally here. So
it's exciting.
Blessings, energy. God is good, and energy is great, and you got to keep going. So I tell anybody, just keep going, keep going. 8 years later, and I did it. Keep going.
Keep going. And then we have exciting news with your brand in our stores.
Yes, yes. So 8 years in, Amanda and Sarah were definitely people that helped me get to this point. So finally, yes, a lot of you have seen Love Corkscrew on the shelves for years, but in specific Marianos, not in every Marianos, right? So you can go to this Mariano's like, Chrishon, wait, you only have one brand here, nothing's here. Wait, but this store, you're full. So Love Corkscrew has finally made it on the map. What does that mean? What does that mean? You will find Love Corkscrew in every single Mariano's. So that took 8 years. 8 years. I'm getting teary-eyed. 8 years.
So excited. We're so excited.
Got it. So I'm beyond excited. It feels good, and now I'm there with the big dog. So now it's really time to win. Now it's really time to work harder.
Whole new list of items that we need to work on.
Man, I got to work hard now. I got to keep that shelf space. So I need everybody listening to help a girl out.
We're going to help you. All right, we have a few questions. Okay, so Desiree, who's been so excited to be here, she wants to know about the WSET. Like, how can she find out more about that and taking classes?
Please. So I think some of the best classes are the Napa Academy courses. Look into Women of the Vine. They give great scholarships and ongoing scholarships. Majority of the courses are about we set one, I believe, is like $300. I think we set 2 is like $600. But Women of the Vine are giving scholarships to complete these courses. There are other grants also given for these courses, but I highly suggest the Napa Academy. I think they have amazing teachers, and they're great courses. They're not as hard as you guys think, but I'll say this: it's you have to memorize a lot. Don't think you're just, oh, I'm sampling wine and the notes. Nah. You're doing a lot of study, a lot of memorizing of different appellations, different tasting profiles, why you say what you say, what's in the bottle, what's the winemaking process. It's not easy, but please take it, and you'll know if wine makes sense, and if it's a world that you want to get into.
Great. And then you did already answer this, but maybe it was someone joined late from Facebook Live. But how did you get involved in wine to begin with? I know you did answer it, but
So I'll do a short other version. Yeah. The short other version is working in distribution for a large distributor for a long time. On the flip side, it was owning an art gallery that we won Chicago's the best wine list in 2009. And I took those two sides of it. So the sales distribution side, the ownership side, and I said, I'm going to do something that everybody tells me I can't do, and that's make money for myself. So I decided to launch Love Corkscrew, and 8 years later, that's the short of it. But watch my TED Talk.
Yeah, I'm going to watch the TED Talk. I'm excited to see that. All right, maybe should we move on to Head Over Heels? I know we have that I don't have, but yeah, I'd love to. Let's jump into this one.
So Head Over Heels is awesome. I'm going to pull it from my wine show. So what you guys don't see is I have like a whole wine wall here.
I've seen it like in another video. It's so cool.
Yeah, I play with it all the time. So this is Head Over Heels. Now, this is a funny, really quick story of this. So Riesling is actually one of the #1 varietals in the entire world. In the world, right? But Americans give Riesling a bad rap for 2 reasons. It's mass produced. Secondly, it's ugly. Funny looking juice, right? So what I said, I got you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put in this dark, sexy bottle, and I'm going to call it Head Over Heels because I think it's the most perfect couples wine. And the Mariano's blows out of this Valentine's Day, but you guys sell it like ×3 of all my varietals that you have, ×3. So Head Over Heels, my Riesling, which is a semi-sweet. So now for you super, super sweet lovers, this is semi-sweet. So this one has, I would say, a top note of grapefruit with a little bit of lemon zest. It's an absolutely delicious one. Now, for you dry lovers, trust me on this, I am a dry lover. Besides my Cabernet Sauvignon and my Pinot, I drink past 23 Camus all day long. I like to cut my wine with a knife, right? But this is delicious. And I really enjoy this, like when I'm not in the mood for such a muddy tanned wine. The Riesling is just killer. And yeah, you guys sell out like crazy.
We also sell the Hard Knock Life because I went to go grab it yesterday at one of the stores and it was completely sold out. So that's,
Man, yes. Hard Knock Life has a crazy following. For you sweet lovers, man, Hard Knock Life. Yes, it's the Hard Knock Life. That one sells like crazy. So I don't like to give them any play, but like you Cooper's Hawk fans and things like that, Stella Rosa fans, you will love my 2 sweet wines, Niagara, which is Touch the Sky, and Concord. Yes, Hard Knock Life blows out. That's great with spicy food. That used to be my #1 seller in Ja Grill here in the Hyde Park area. Tony, the owner, he would sell it like crazy. So great with spicy foods. It's absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious for you.
Chrishon,
and all vegan. All my wines are vegan.
I love that. I'm doing a meatless March. We'll see if it works, but I can enjoy your wines with it because
yes.
But can we talk through like tasting a wine, because I think that is something that I always have a hard time with, as much wine as I drink, believe it or not. But I feel like I can't articulate like the flavors. Like I kind of like if you said, oh, lemon zest, I'd be like, oh my gosh, she's so right. It's lemon zest. But how do you really taste a wine to kind of like break it down like that?
So it's stop overthinking it. Each of us have a different palate. Each of us process flavors and taste and smell differently, period. However you look at it. One of the best advice that was ever given me by the president of National Sommelier Association. He told me there'll be 99 sommeliers with 100 different answers. Okay, so let's start there. There's no right or wrong. The nose. So you gather aromas, right? It's whatever you smell. You cannot be wrong. Again, your nose picks up what it picks up. If I'm smelling my Riesling, I'm picking up grapefruit. I'm picking up lemon, right? It's what you're smelling on the nose. All right. So that's #1. That's the aromas. When you taste the wine, right?
I really get the lemon when you say lemon. Like I feel like I was getting like a little bit of a tropical nose until you actually said lemon. And I'm like, I'm really not getting what I thought was tropical. Maybe a little bit.
But you're not wrong. Right. You're not wrong because
I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. So I never want people to think they're wrong in what they smell because it's impossible. You're not. In wine tasting, it's just more about the details, right? Going in depth. It's about not saying just one smell, but three. Well, I smell a little bit of this and that and that. Tell me what you're picking up, right? And then in the flavor, whether something is acidic, if it's acidic, you're gonna feel like there's juice that's coming and more juiciness in the front of your mouth, right? Think about when you're eating a lemon, that pucker, right? Or if you're eating an orange or something. So think about that. And then the flavor, when you're picking up, especially in wines that are more herbal or oaky, if you will, get into detail about that. What are you tasting? Is it like a cognac flavor to the oak? Just get into like a little deeper. That's all it's about. And you can sound like a total expert and have no idea what you're talking about. It's exactly what you taste that makes it make sense. Now, when we get into what's accurate or not, when it gets into tannins, only red wines have tannins, like there are specifics. But other than that, what you're smelling, what you're tasting in your first sip is your body, your preference. You can't be wrong. That's the easiest way without really, really breaking it down that I can say. But stop overthinking it.
Okay. It makes it more fun.
Yes. Yes. If seriously, if you were in front of a master sommelier right now and you said what you smelled, what you tasted, he will not look at you or she will not look at you like you're wrong, because you're not. You can't be. It's what you experience.
It's very empowering. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
And Chrishon, do you think that, because I have heard this, that, it's like a misconception. A lot of people think like, oh, I don't love sweet wine, or a lot of people think they do love sweet wine, but I definitely put myself on more of a dry, like mineral category.
Mm-hmm.
But when I taste this, like this is sweet, but it's not like an overwhelming, it has like a very round sweetness, like it's easy to drink. And I would imagine that. So I think people have a misconception. Like they don't think they think they like dry or sweet, but I really think it's more complex than that.
It is. And it's also about, so this is when we talk about sweet wines, it does get into thinking about how you pair it. I'm going to give you an example. The hardest meals to pair wine with are sweet and savory. The easiest meals to pair wine with are acidic and salty. Things that are sweet and savory, let's say you have a piece of chocolate cake and you drink my Riesling. It's going to taste kind of funny, even though you may think it's sweet, because the sweetness of the cake, it's going to bring out all the things that most people don't like in a wine, whether it be bitter, whether it be dry. If you were drinking one of my red wines with a sweet piece of chocolate cake, you might be like, wait, it's very tannin. It's making my mouth feel muddy and dry, right? But if you were eating something with salt or something acidic, it would bring out all the fruit forward flavors within those wines. So to your point of sweet wine, you may like a sweeter wine if you had a big brick of blue cheese. It's going to be absolutely delicious, right? Because that makes sense. If you look at a lot of chefs, they put the drizzle of honey over the blue cheese. Some of the top wine experts in the world love the Sincères of the world, love the ports, love the sweet, 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 sweet wine. I don't. But if I do drink my sweet wines, I'm definitely going to pair it with something spicy. I'm going to do something salty. I'm going to do something a little more pungent, like the blue cheeses, like the white cheddars. So the point is, it's all in how you pair something that you think you don't like. But if done right, you just may enjoy it. You just may. So, and let me finish the statement about the piece of chocolate cake. Piece of chocolate cake is great with a port. It's great with something that's sweeter, right? Then it makes sense. But if it's less sweet, it brings out the tones that we may not like in certain wines. So I hope that makes sense.
It definitely makes sense. And I think like for this wine, I would love it like at the stores. We have those spicy sushi, the sushi rolls and poke bowls.
Great with sushi.
I would love that with this. I wish I had that. I wish I had chocolate cake, blue cheese, and that right now.
Right. Right. It's great with Italian food too. Because you think about that with your tomatoes, right? You may add just a tinge of sugar just to cut the acid, right? Riesling, tinge of sugar.
And our old friend Chrishon, who's here on the Zoom. Hi, Chrishon. Chrishon, I'm going to unmute you and you can ask Chrishon your question. Is that okay? Yeah. I think you have to unmute yourself though. Oh, there you go. Hi, Chrishon.
Hey.
How are you?
Hey, fine, and you?
Great. It's good to see you.
I just want to say it's fabulous for us all to be champions for one another. I actually came to know about Chrishon's wine through a networking event that was held by somebody who was doing publication work here. And they had an event at a restaurant that's owned by an Asian American woman. And they were featuring Chrishon's wine. So I've known about it from like 2013 and I've been hooked ever since.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Chrishon, I keep missing you at the event, so I haven't had a chance to get a picture with you. And I was telling Sarah, I met Amanda in the stores, and I had no idea I was talking to Amanda Puck. I'm like, I love her on TV, but I hadn't seen you in such a long time. Now I hate that I didn't get my selfie with you, but one day, both of you, I'll catch both of you.
We'll have a Love Corkscrew event at one of the stores, and we can all
absolutely.
So, Chrishon, my question is, even before I was supposed to, I've been a champagne man for a long time. So I want to know, didn't you have a sparkler at one point? Because I thought there was one that I had at the event that day in 2013.
I did. So funny you mentioned that, because Amanda had asked how many wines did I start out with? Well, I actually started out with 6, and one was a Prosecco, which was a sparkling. It was called In Too Deep. I started that, and the funny thing is, I didn't know at the time, this is years ago, that I was going to do as well with it as I did. So I thought, out of most of my wines sit between $11 and $16. The Prosecco was $22.99. So I'm like, it's not going to sell. I'm a new brand, but this is absolutely delicious. And when I say Prosecco, nope, I didn't mean to say Prosecco. Brut is dry. So it was a dry sparkling. I sourced it out of Illinois. The vineyard that produced it stopped doing sparkling. And I was okay, because I'm like, I'm just going to go through this batch, and I'm probably not going to sell it. I'll just have it, around. And next thing you know, one of my accounts blew it out, and it was a champagne buyer for that account that blew it out. That person was pissed. Wow. And that was years ago, because they had this shelf space for me, and it was gone. It was gone. So I am reintroducing my In Too Deep, but more of a Vino Blanco. So that is going to be hitting shelves soon. But the sparkling world is not easy. That's a very hard thing to make and to mass produce when I'm now going on a more national scale. So I can't afford to yet. So when I get the big bucks, I got you. I got you covered.
But I continue to be a champion for your brand. I tell everybody, I take it everywhere I go. Amanda, I want to thank you personally for always being kind to me, even before, you treated me like I was a star, and I appreciate that. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. I always love talking to you. So it's fun to see you here on Zoom. So thank you, Chrishon.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
That warms my heart.
And then, and he had actually a great point. You brought it up with selling so much product. I'm lucky that I've gotten to taste the wines with you over the years. We've had so many in-person events. You keep everything so consistent. Like the way this tastes to me today is the way it tasted years ago when we probably did a class together. So how do you maintain that consistency?
It ain't easy. It ain't easy. Boy, it ain't easy. I had a scare one year with, it had to have been about 4 years ago. I had a scare with the Concord Niagara. When I did the taste test for that particular year, I was tasting, I'm like, this ain't right. And it was right after we had a horrible winter. And a lot of the vineyards in Illinois and Michigan thought it was done. Thought it was a wrap, thought they were out of business. It was over with. And I drove really fast to Oswego. That's where one of my vineyards were. And I did a taste test. And the funny thing is I think I did it kind of live on Facebook. I had all these vials of different RS, so different residual sugar content that I was going to do. And I literally had to change it like by 50%. Like that's how bitter the Concord grapes came. So it's not easy. It's not easy. There are going to be, just in winemaking, you understand, this is natural, right? This is God, the sun, the moon, the stars. There's going to be a bottle that may taste slightly different, but I will say I definitely stay about 97%. It's pretty big, consistent with all the varietals. And it's not easy, but it's a lot of hard work. The vineyards are great to me. They've been huge fans of Love Corkscrew from the day one that I met them. I told them I was going to outsell their own wine ×3, and I've done ×10. So it's just been amazing to work with great growers, great winemakers, and they listen and they respect my thought process, and one bottle at a time.
All right, Chrishon, I think we have another wine that you're going to talk to us about. I don't have it here with me, but you have it there.
Yes, of course I have it here. I talked
I know
about
you
it
have them all there.
earlier.
We could talk about them all.
Yeah, I literally have them all here. But yeah, Hard Knock Life. I'm positive there's some Hard Knock Life fans on here because I think I saw a few names that I recognized, few sorority sisters of mine. I think I saw them, but yes, Hard Knock Life.
They're actually, one of them said hi to you. It was Patrice Ball-Reed.
Oh, hi, Soror. So yes, this is so cool because this one was so much fun. And I know I keep bringing it up, but it's so significant. My TED Talk talks about this. I always wanted to be Annie. And I had like super red hair when I was born. It's gray now, but it was red. So I always wanted to be Annie. So when I saw the color that of my juice, I was like, oh God, Hard Knock Life. And a lot of people think I thought of Jay-Z. Wasn't even thinking about Jay-Z, but that's fine. Like I said, double entendres. You can think of whoever you want to think of. But this baby is from Illinois. I will be again sourcing from Michigan soon on this one. But this has a cult following. Vegan, sweet, but not sugary sweet. What do I mean by that? The finish is so light and simple. It doesn't feel like you have a bowl of sugar in your mouth when you're done. And that's the greatness. Great. The bad way to say it, but the best way to describe it is almost like water at the end, right? You don't feel like, I just ate a whole 2-3 pieces of chocolate cake. Like it just really has a great finish to it. And again, for sweet lovers, you just love it. For dry lovers, man, it makes a darn good sangria. But the best advice that I can give to anyone, if you guys listen to anything I say on this entire show, when the world does open up and when you start entertaining, always keep in your house the opposite of what you drink. I'm gonna repeat that. Keep the opposite of what you drink in your home. Why, you ask? Why, Chrishon? Because all your friends don't like everything you drink. And don't assume because you're a dry lover, your friends will like dry. And don't assume if you are a sweet lover. No, do not. I'm not drinking Stella Rosa when I come to your house. So you have to be mindful of your friends. And the funny thing is, you'll notice a lot less full glasses when they leave, right? You see, sometimes when your friends leave, they still, why you would waste all that wine, right? Or they just gulp it down because they didn't like it. So always keep the opposite of your house to entertain your friends and be respectful of what they like. So that's the little advice I just had. I know I'm being hard on you guys, but I just had to throw that in there.
I think that's funny because sometimes I bring wines that I like to my friend's house just in case they don't have the ones that I like there. But
boom,
yeah,
yes,
just
yes,
in case.
yes. But I always keep certain
good
wines there. So yeah, obviously I always have love Corkscrew. But again, I'm not a sweet lover, but I have so many friends that enjoy ports and things like that. So I keep them here and I know I'm not going to drink them. So no problem. I got something for them too.
Since I know you have them all like next to you, I know we talked about the 3 wines. Can you just show us and talk us through?
Sure.
And really, how do you select the names? Like they're all very iconic, moments. Like, we'll know, Head Over Heels is an iconic saying. Hard Knock Life. I mean, that's like my theme song. So like, how do you pick, all of these, like, how do they just resonate with you that you decide to?
It was seriously simple. I know that you guys are not going to believe me, but it was really the color, the thought, and whatever was in my head at the time. I worked together with a great woman out of North Carolina. This is 12 years ago. And we were just literally at 3 o'clock in the morning, emailing each other, because that was 12 years ago, more emailing than anything. And we were just going back and forth, and it was about feelings. Like I always thought of Riesling as romantic. So Head Over Heels, like it was so simple. Good times, good friends. I thought Pinot Grigio is the perfect wine to take to a friend's house. You're gonna have good times with good friends. It was literally that simple. The one I don't have here because I'm sold out all the time, and Mariano's blows out of it, is my Cabernet Sauvignon. So that one's we're moving on up. The gentleman has that one. So we're moving on up. That's my baby. I've sold out of that one 10 times out of the vintage. And that one was 2 things: California wine, and we're moving on up, the Jeffersons. I thought it's like the perfect promotion, perfect. It was my baby, so I thought it was the next level. So thus we're moving on up. Like it was like literally this simple. Touch the Sky, which is my Niagara. That was because it was yellow like the sun. It wasn't Kanye. It was literally touch the Yeah. So like I said, double entendres. One of my exclusives is We Go High, because when they go low, we go high, which is my
Yep,
rosé.
I love
This
that.
one was really fun because this one was, I'll tell a super quick story. I was training at Chalks Hill in one of the top vineyards in the entire country. And I'm training there in Healdsburg. And there was the National Sommelier president. I was in one of his classes and I said, hey, I'm gonna produce a wine next year. And this was years ago. And I said, tell me what to make and don't you dare tell me rosé. He's like, Chrishon rosé. I'm like, come on. He's like, number one, that's the, as we may or may not know, rosé is like the first varietal ever in the country ever existed in the world, right? So the short of it was, I said, fine, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it different. He's like, I know, Chrishon. So I went back to my room, quite a few Chardonnays in, and I was feeling some type of way because there was certain brands that were copying my labels. So I called one of my friends, feeling bad about myself. She's like, Chrishon, you know what Michelle says, when they go low, we go high. And I was like, that's it. That's it. That's gonna be the name of my rosé. So for real, it's just certain things that happen in too deep. I just thought about bubbles in the ocean. Like it's not really much thought to it, but I guess they say sometimes the most genius things you didn't really overthink it, right? So that's the labels. That's how I came up with them. It's that
That's
simple.
another thing that makes it
Yeah.
so special because it's not just saying what the wine is or like where it's from, but it is about the feeling that you're going to have. And I think a lot of us like resonate more with that feeling part than
That's what I
deciphering,
wanted.
you know, anything else. So I think
That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not just about scrolling on a bottle that you have no idea and you can't pronounce. It was about a feeling. It's about fun. Like I said, Head Over Heels. Not only is it my number one seller, but Valentine's Day. Come on. So it's just a thought, of feeling, and I wanted to create a mood, and I wanted it to totally be fun, and that's all I wanted, just fun.
Before we, because I could talk to you all night, is there anything else you want us to know? And then to everyone else, you know, we have so many fans here. If anyone else has any questions for Chrishon, because I took some copious notes that I want to kind of recap when we're done. So.
No, I just want to say, and I say this, I've done, you know, I've literally done 200, and I think I'm at 256 virtual tastings since the pandemic. And it has been an amazing experience because the respect and the people seeing Love Corkscrew that haven't seen Love Corkscrew, whether it be because of George Floyd and a lot of eyes opening up, whether it be people now looking for Black-owned businesses and seeing Love Corkscrew pop up. It has been an amazing experience to finally be seen. I always use the analogy that it's like a boxer getting hit in the eyes so many times that the trainer comes and takes a razor to open his eyes. That's how a lot of eyes were open recently. They were forced to be open. And I want to just tell everyone outside of Love Corkscrew, whatever you're doing, whether it be entrepreneurship, whether it be taking your career to the next level, now is the time. And it being Women's Month, women, now is the time for you to take advantage of every single opportunity that you have. And lastly, I will say, and I hope this encourages someone, it was amazing when the pandemic happened and when the social unrest happened. I was going back to old emails of all these no's. There was tons of no's. I got no yesterday. I got no today. I went back to all those emails and I replied to them, even though some of them were like 5 years ago. And I said, hey, so I'm here. Now what? And all of a sudden they're saying, yeah. So I want people to definitely take advantage of the time we're living in and to be safe as well. I've lost family to COVID. I've lost friends to COVID. And I just want you to be good to yourself and know as long as your heart's still beating, you have a purpose.
That's Chrishon. That's like great insight and advice. And we always love supporting you at Mariano's, and all the time that we've worked together, you've been one of my shining lights to be able to get to know and to support. So we all thank you for doing this for us tonight.
Thank you. Amanda, anything you ask, you know I'll do it. So whatever.
Does anyone else have any questions for Chrishon while we're here? Because I took some notes, and we picked you for a reason to be our March 1st, female focus. I mean, I know we work with you all the time, so it's not like we were just doing it now. But we really picked you because Sarah and I, are lucky that we get to work with all of our local vendors very closely and build really incredible, personal and professional relationships with. But I think for me, you've been particularly inspiring. And as we're talking, there's so many things that I really admire about you, and I kind of wrote some of them down. I hope this isn't like embarrassing, but just seeing what you've accomplished, and I think these are traits we all can look within ourselves. Success just doesn't happen. I mean, you've worked at it. I mean, you've been working at this for a long time, and like you said, there have been current events, over the past year that really kind of maybe have led to more opportunity, but they still would not have happened if you were not hardworking. You're always about the experience, not just about the product, which I think is really important. You're very hands-on, which, we work with a lot of other companies where the owner might not be so hands-on. So you being so involved at that level and, about the experience makes it special. You're very innovative, which I think right now in 2021 is important because everyone has to shift and make changes in how they do business. Yeah. And I think it's no matter what business you are in, whether it's wine or cheese or, accounting, it doesn't really matter. I think you really have to be innovative and open to challenging yourself, which you are. You're very creative, which makes the brand very fun. So again, I have my t-shirt collection and the wines and all that kind of stuff. So you really do well there. You're very punny, which is hard for a lot of people to do because I try to be punny. I can't really be, but you're so great with these sayings and phrases and all that kinds of stuff. So that's always in the best. But the thing I really enjoy the most about you, and it really is how you are as a person, but also as you are as a leader in this industry, but you have a lot of positive energy. And I think you really give out what you get back. And you've been a positive force for Sarah and I, but I think when we look at women leaders and how they are successful and entrepreneurial, I mean, to me, those qualities about you, I don't know if anyone else wants to throw some out about her, but you really do inspire a lot of us. And we just want to say thank you for being here tonight.
You warm my heart. You warm my heart. And I just seriously want to, I always say if I can affect one person to follow their dreams, then I've done my job.
Right.
And my hard lesson to people is to always know whatever you do, whatever you become, whatever happens, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's bigger than that.
Right.
You don't know who you're inspiring. You don't know who is affected by the great things you do. Negative as well, right? So let's stay positive. You are here. If you are here, you need to be happy.
Right.
And that's the motto I live by every day I get up.
And that's why you're our first female leader feature for Mariano's for Women's History Month. And we're happy to have you. And I don't think we have any more questions, but we have a lot of other incredible female entrepreneurs scheduled throughout the month, not only on Zoom, but we're going to be doing some Facebook Lives with them as well. We have a lot of new vendors in our stores, and most of them are women-owned. And Black businesses and other minorities. So it's a really great celebration that we're having to welcome them into our family. So everyone stay tuned and don't forget to buy some, Love Corkscrew.
Love Corkscrew. Hello. Thanks
Corkscrew.
for having me, guys. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.